Guys, so today's bonus video is 20 minutes of what solds, and we have almost caught up to current day. All of these solds are from around like June, July time. For the most part, these are items that I've sold pretty recently. I feel like this video is already long enough, so I'm just gonna jump straight into it. I do have a new Bolo list. It's nothing but discontinued products. That's in my Etsy. Usually I do 30, but there are 5 repeats in there. So there's a couple extras included, but again, they're repeats. This Roku food processor sold for $110 plus shipping. I paid $20 for this about 6 weeks ago at an estate sale. I paid $5 for these Villeroy and Bosch mugs about 3 weeks ago, and they sold for $25 plus shipping on eBay. This is the new wave design, which seems to be really popular on eBay. I paid $2 for this big buck game about a week ago, and I took an offer of $25 plus shipping on this. I probably could have held out a little bit longer for more money, but I just wanted to move this quickly. This Bodum set took about 3 months to sell. I paid $4.99 for this, and it sold for $70 plus shipping on eBay. I paid $4.99 for this Sunbeam Hot Shot at Goodwill, and it took about 3 days to sell. I took an offer of $50 plus shipping on this. This vintage Lux soap took about 5 weeks to sell. I paid 50 cents for this, and it sold for $14.99. This bottle was stained and a little dirty from just being stored over the years. If it would have been in better shape, it would have sold for $30. This vintage lipstick holder sold for $300 plus shipping. This was an international sale heading to the UK. I paid $10 for this, and it took about a month to sell. I had received about 5 other offers for this item, but all of them were under $275. I paid $1.99 for these Persol sunglasses. When I picked these up, I could tell that they were a higher quality, and then I noticed they were marked on the inside, handmade in Italy. These are Persol sunglasses, and they sold for $90 plus shipping. This Barbie sold within an hour of listing. I paid about $2.50 for her, and she sold for $75. This Ken took about a day to sell. I also paid around $2.50 for him, and I took a best offer of $26. I paid $10 for this broken toaster, and it sold for $51 plus shipping, and it probably took about 5 weeks for this one to sell. This is the Sunbeam Model T20B. These are definitely Bolos. I paid $1 for this Urban Decay palette at a garage sale about 3 weeks ago, and it sold for $30 plus shipping on eBay. This Jump Dancer toy sold for $70 plus shipping. I paid $9.99 for this, and it took less than a week for it to sell. I picked this up because it reminded me of the vintage Skip It toys from the 80s and 90s. I always look up anything that I've never seen before, like this giant Kerplunk game. This sold in about 2 weeks for $55 plus shipping, and I paid $9.99 for this at Goodwill. This Estee Lauder brush sold for $20.39, and it took about a week and a half for this to sell. I paid $1 for this at an estate sale. I also sold this comb for $19 plus shipping. This one I picked up at the bins, and this probably took a little over 2 months to sell. 7 weeks ago, I paid $12.50 for an entire vacuum. This is the only piece that I've listed so far, and this just sold for $45 plus shipping. This part of the vacuum is called a power nozzle head, and if you can find them for vintage vacuums, they sell for good money. This hot roller case was caked in hairspray, so I'm just selling the rollers, and these 4 just sold for $10.20 plus shipping. I paid $2 for all of this poly grip at a garage sale, and it sold overnight for $48.50 plus shipping. These are all small travel size tubes, and there are 48 boxes in total. I paid $6 for this entire bag of Fresh Guard at a garage sale. It took a week and a half for this to sell, and it sold for $48.50 plus shipping. I paid $5 for this Sony camcorder, but it took over a year to sell. I bought this last garage sale season. It sold for $120 on Mercari. These 2 Eddie Bauer mugs sold for $34.50 plus shipping. These took a little less than a month to sell. I paid $3.99 each for these at the thrift store. I already sold the knives that were in this Cutco box. Just the empty box sold for $30.60, and it took about 2 months to sell. I paid $5 for this Coach wallet about a month ago, and it sold for $28.75. I paid around $1/4 for this little thing of Winnie the Pooh books, and this sold for $21 plus shipping in about a month. I picked up these hot rollers for $3.99 and they sold overnight for $67 plus shipping on eBay. These hairbrushes sold in 2 days for $69.98. I paid $4 a piece for these at an estate sale. This dollhouse was all profit, already sold most of the furniture that came with it, sold for $42 in about a month. This super soaker took about 6 weeks to sell. I paid $3 for it and it sold for $19.98 plus shipping. This is some of the doll furniture that came with that dollhouse. This set sold for $20 plus shipping and this was also all profit. These dolls were also part of that $10 pickup and these are all profit as well. I sold this family for $30 plus shipping on eBay. This little Sony Walkman took about 2 months to sell. I paid $4.99 for this at an estate sale and it is missing the battery cover and it sold for $31 plus shipping. I paid $50 for this vintage McDonald's display and it took about 10 days to sell. It sold for $148 plus shipping. I paid 25 cents for this Amway Industrial Clean and it sold for $40 plus shipping. It took about 4 months for this to sell. This denture cleaner took about 2 weeks to sell. I paid $1 for it and it sold for $30 plus shipping. This Olay is all profit. I paid less than $1 for this about a month ago and it sold for $30 plus shipping. I paid $5 for a big bag of sample perfumes and this Guerlain perfume was in there. It sold for $15 plus shipping in 4 days. These two switch plate covers sold for $40 plus shipping. I picked these up in September. These were from the Cologne estate sale, so these are all profit. These spoons are all profit. They sold for $55 plus shipping. I paid $20 for a large lot of this flatware, and now I have made over $400 off of this $20 purchase. I paid $5 for a box of filter clean accessories, and it took about a week for this hose to sell. It sold for $32 plus shipping. This vintage nail buffer sold for $49.99 plus shipping in less than 3 days. I paid $1.20 for this at an estate sale. These Pyrex percolators are always a fast sale. I paid $5 for this one and it sold for $46 plus shipping on eBay in about 2 weeks. This Mr. Coffee iced tea pitcher sold for $26 plus shipping. I paid $1 for this at an estate sale 3 weeks ago. These used Keen shoes sold for $52 plus shipping. I paid $15 for these a month ago at a garage sale. It took 9 weeks for this Wimbledon towel to sell. I sold it for $23 plus shipping and I paid $2.99 for this at the thrift store. I took an offer of $55 plus shipping on these Pyrex bowls. I paid $10 for these at a garage sale and they took about a week and a half to sell. I also paid $10 for this Salad Master food processor at a garage sale, and this one sold for $35 plus shipping and it took about a week to sell. I paid $10 for these vintage Chippewa logger boots at the thrift store and I took an offer of $60 plus shipping. These have been for sale for about 6 months. I just wanted to get them out of my inventory. This vintage Pentax camera sold for $50 plus shipping. I paid 75 cents for this and it sold within 24 hours of listing. I paid $2 for this Bose speaker at a church sale about 2 weeks ago and it sold for $62 plus shipping on eBay. I paid $20 for this All-American pressure cooker. It took 8 days to sell and it sold for $225 plus shipping. Keep an eye out for these. There's currently 226 listed, and in the last 90 days, 250 have sold. I've had these Just for Men hair colors for sale for probably 4 months. I haven't had any sales, and this weekend I sold 3 packs of these for $23.80 a piece. It took 3 weeks for this Estee Lauder powder to sell. I paid $4 for this at an estate sale, and it sold for $32 plus shipping. I bought this reproduction Barbie brand new in the box, opened it up, and I'm parting everything out. I paid $10 for the Barbie in the box, and just this microphone sold for $10. If I would have known this was still on my shelf, it probably would have ended up in my garage sale last year. I paid less than $1 for this at the bins, and it took just shy of 2.5 years to sell. These jarts sold for $45 plus shipping. I paid $8 for these at an estate sale. Now I did sell these for parts only and removed the metal pieces. I double checked on eBay to make sure that that was okay. And I even clicked on about 50 similar listings that had sold in the last 90 days to make sure none had been removed. I paid $1/4 for this Clinique eyeshadow palette at a garage sale about 2 months ago and it sold for $17.84. This one is brand new, just not brand new in the box. Mr. Coffee Mrs. Tea Maker took about 2 months to sell. I paid $3 for it, and I took a best offer of $25 plus shipping. These rollers took about 3 weeks to sell. I paid $3 at a garage sale, and they sold for $19. I knew these would be a quick flip. That's why I picked these ones up. I paid $40 for this entire case of mini perfumes, and this Nautica one took about a week to sell. It sold for $30 plus shipping. I paid $5 for this Olympus camera, but there was no way for me to test it. I sold it for parts only, and it sold for $30 plus shipping, and it took about 3 weeks to sell. This Orvis bag sold for $80 plus shipping. I paid $15 for this at a garage sale, and it only took about 4 days to sell once we got it listed. Keep an eye out for this style of Orvis luggage. It sells very well and for really good money. This mini cologne took about a week to sell. I picked it up at an estate sale. I paid $5 for an entire bag of sample perfumes, and this cologne was in that bag. I paid $3.50 for this Caribou game, and it sold for $36 plus shipping. This took about 2 months to sell. These 4 vintage Susie Goose hangers that go to Barbie clothing sold for $8 plus shipping, and these were all profit. I paid $3 for this cake plate, and I took an offer of $36 plus shipping. This men's Ralph Lauren Safari cologne was only about half full, and it sold for $25 plus shipping, and it took about 8 months to sell. These Allegria shoes sold for $36 plus shipping. Of course, when I decide I'm going to get out of the shoe game, I start selling shoes. All of these will be available on my Whatnot auction next Thursday. This vintage Barbie with an extra head sold for $35. I picked it up for a quarter at a garage sale. This Barbie, her head was on the wrong body. This is a clone Barbie body and not an actual vintage Mattel Barbie body. I sold this vintage lot of Barbie shoes for $15 plus shipping. These came in a large lot, so these are all profit. This So Gorgeous volumizing spray sold for $35 plus shipping. I paid $3 for this at an estate sale, and it took around 2 months for this to sell. I paid $4.99 for this gift set, and it sold for $30 plus shipping. Took about 2 months for this to sell. This is an item that I picked up on my thrifting trip down to Kentucky. This is another item I picked up on my thrifting trip to Kentucky. I paid $3 for this pack of cleansing pads, and they sold for $14 plus shipping. I just got these listed. They took about a month to sell. All accessories are $1.99 at my Goodwill. So this belt was $1.99. This is a Ralph Lauren Italian leather belt, and it sold within a week for $20 plus shipping. I paid $1.50 for this dish rack, and it sold for $54 plus shipping, and it took about 2 weeks to sell. I've already sold $400 worth of this flatware that I picked up for $20, and these spoons sold for $68 plus shipping. This Marc Jacobs perfume took about 2 weeks to sell. I paid $30 for it at a thrift store, and I took an offer of $115 plus shipping. I never knew that Brighton made perfume. I always thought that they had just made handbags. I picked this perfume up for $3.99. It took about a month to sell, and it sold for $38 plus shipping. I paid $4 for this hairbrush at an estate sale, and it took about 3 weeks to sell. I took an offer of $25 plus shipping. This is from the Fuller Brush Company. This Ralph Lauren perfume took 5 days to sell. I paid $10, and I took an offer of $76 plus shipping. This one is brand new in the box. I paid $2 for these shorts at a garage sale, and they took about 2 weeks to sell. I took an offer of $26 plus shipping on these. These were a size medium. Had they been in a larger size, they probably would have sold for more. This older Olympus camera sold for $100 plus shipping. I paid a little less than $5 for this at a thrift store, and it took about 2 days to sell. This little tiny Lancome face cream was in a $5 grab bag that I picked up, and this sold for $30 plus shipping. Took about a week and a half to sell. I paid $2 for this Canon camera at an estate sale, and it sold for $40 plus shipping in less than 24 hours. These older paper mache Halloween decorations sold for $25 plus shipping. I paid $2 for these at an estate sale about a month and a half ago. I picked up this lot of Bratz dolls 5 weeks ago at a garage sale. I paid $10 for the entire box, and I took an offer of $180 plus shipping. I paid $2 for a bag of mini perfumes, and this one sold for $25 plus shipping. It took about 2 months to sell. It took 5 weeks for this Dawn outfit to sell. This one sold for $38 plus shipping. I paid $5 for this at an estate sale. This Dr. Ho neck massager sold for $90 plus shipping. I paid $10 for this at a garage sale about 6 weeks ago. This Old World Christmas Santa sold for $100 plus $15 in shipping. I paid $10 for this 2 months ago at a garage sale. Last weekend, I walked to an estate sale just around the corner and I picked up a Barbie case for $30, and this swimsuit sold for $20 plus shipping. This goes to a Midge doll. This Clinique redness reducer sold for $24.99. I paid $2 for this at a garage sale about 3 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I picked up all of this brand new makeup at the thrift store. I just started listing it, and I paid $3.99 for each one of these, and I sold this blush set for $14.99, and it sold overnight. These Niken Mag Boys also sold overnight. I paid 50 cents for these, and they sold for $44.99 plus shipping. It took around a week for this Merle Norman blush to sell. I paid $2.99 for this, and it sold for $17.50 plus shipping. I paid 35 cents for all of these pencils, and they sold for $160 plus shipping on eBay, and they took about 2 months to sell. I picked up this shower head for $5.99, and it sold in 2 days for $40 plus shipping. This was new open box. Had it been new and sealed, it would have sold for $60. I paid $30 for an entire case of Barbie items, and this Barbie sold for $40 plus shipping, even with her haircut, within 2 hours of listing. I paid $5 for these wall pockets, and they took about 6 weeks to sell. I took an offer for $50 on these because of all of the small chips that they had. Had they been in better condition, these can sell all the way up to $165. These next 2 items sold to the same buyer. This Bath & Body Works Smart Soap is discontinued. This set of 2 sold for $30 plus shipping, and then this single soap sold for $12 plus shipping. This Estee Lauder perfume took about 8 months to sell. I paid 50 cents for this, and I took an offer of $44 plus shipping. This comb sold for $22 plus shipping. It took about 3 months to sell. I bought this at the bins, and I paid less than a quarter for this. This mini Revlon perfume came in a $5 grab bag that I picked up, and it sold for $17 plus shipping, and it took about 2.5 weeks for this one to sell. These Lancome body washes sold for $34 plus shipping. I paid about $3 for those, and they sold in 3 days. This Hermes cologne also came in that $5 grab bag. I took an offer of $22.99 plus shipping on this one. This Russell Wright pitcher sold for $85 plus shipping. I paid $15 for this at an estate sale, and it took about 2 weeks for this one to sell. I paid less than $1 for this callus remover, and it took about 2.5 weeks to sell. It sold for $15 plus shipping. This came from an estate sale where I bought a lot of vintage bathroom items. This headless Barbie came in an $8 vintage Barbie case I picked up at an estate sale. She took about 3 days to sell once I listed it, and she sold for $20 plus shipping. I paid $10 for this Christmas decoration, and it sold for $100 plus shipping, and it took about a month and a half to sell. I paid $3 for these hot rollers at an estate sale, and they sold for $32 plus shipping, and these ones took about a month to sell. I paid $3 for this game at a garage sale about 3 weeks ago. Sold for $38 plus shipping. This didn't have any comps when I picked it up. I bought it because of the date on the package and because of the graphics. I paid $5 for this Krups coffee maker, and it sold for $40 in about 3 months. This Barbie was sealed in the box, but I knew I'd get more if I opened it and pieced it out. I paid $10 for everything, and she sold for $25 plus shipping. I also sold the microphone last week for $12 plus shipping. I paid $5 for both of these Bath & Body Works soaps. These are discontinued, and they sold for $32 plus shipping, and these ones took a couple months to sell. I paid $3 for this Norelco blade at a garage sale, and it sold for $25.50, and it took about 2 weeks to sell. Thank you guys so much for watching. My goal for November is to be more consistent with my YouTube videos, so hopefully you'll see 3 a week from me for the entire month of November, and then I'm going to cut it back down to 2 a week in December. But thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you on my next video on Tuesday.